Good evening, everyone at the Oxford Real Farming Conference. Good day, good night, good morning, wherever you are. I'm Sam Lee. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and thank you for giving over your Friday slot to come and listen to some music. I hope you've had as special and enlightening time at the conference so far as I've had. I've been truly inspired. And I would really like to sing you some old folk songs, connecting in with many of the themes that we've been listening to. And I want to say hello to all of you out there. It's lovely seeing your names and where you're coming in from, be that Buckfastleigh or Washington State, two very special parts of the world. Thank you for being here. I'm doing this in the old-fashioned way. I'm not going to be playing instruments. I'm going to be singing some old English, British, Irish, Scottish folk songs, maybe even a bit of Welsh, in the old way, just me and my voice, as I've learnt them, and telling you some of the stories behind these songs. And it's been a great joy selecting some songs that connect in with some of the themes that have been present within the last couple of days. I'm going to start with a song that really for me speaks about something that's central to this whole experience, which is the power of healing of our green and furry brothers and sisters and family, and the natural world that we are part of, and how important it is to be in it, to receive that medicine, that healing, that nurture, that sustenance. And this is a Sussex song, which is the south of England, from a family who live in Rottingdean, a family that have been singing folk songs for over 500 years, called the Copper family. And it's a song that was sung much across the UK. It's known as Spencer the Rover. And for me, this is a song about the power of nature to restore humans back to their former selves. It's about a man who is in a state of depression, though it's not spoken about in those words, but I think underlying the state of reduced confusion, as is mentioned, is a man in great sufferance. And it is the finding of the cool water, it is the woodbine and ivy, the honeysuckle enrapturing him in a forest, that is where he receives the wisdom to return to his home and to find that place where he belongs, that sense of belonging. So this is the song Spencer the Rover from the Copper family of Rottingdean in Sussex. These words were composed by Spencer the Rover, who travelled most parts of Great Britain and Wales. He had been so reduced, which caused great confusion, and that was the reason he went on the wrong. In Yorkshire near Rotherham he had been on his rambles, being weary of travelling, he sat himself down at the foot of yonder mountain. There runs a clear fountain, with bread and cool water he himself did refresh, and it tasted more sweeter than the gold he had squandered, more sweeter than honey, and gave more content. But the thought of his babies lamenting their father brought tears to his eyes and made him lament. Well, the night fast approaching, to the woods he resorted, with woodbine and ivy his bed for to make. There he dreamt about crying, lamenting and sighing. Go home to your family and your ramblings forsake. On the 5th of November, I've a reason to remember, when first he arrived at his family's front door. Well, they looked so surprised when first he arrived, to behold such a stranger once more in their sight. And his children came around him with their brittle prattling stories, to drive care away. Now they are united like birds of one feather, like bees in one hive, contented they'll be, contented he'll be, and go rambling no more. Spencer the Rover. A very old song, and one that for me is really captures the essence of why I spend so much time outdoors and beyond the garden, in the big garden, and it's because of that. It's that shamanic journey that Spencer goes on, that I'm sure at some point most of us have been on, where we found great solace and containment, that sense of being held, of being part of something so much bigger and more important, but also that, yeah, we play a role within it, and that's not a new feeling. The old feelings are often the best feelings, as are some of the old songs, some of the best songs. So thank you. I'm paying a little bit of attention to the chat, and so please do send in comments or messages or requests of songs, or just hellos and from where you are. It's really nice to see that, and thoughts and responses. I'm not going to assume that you listening know what these songs, where they come from and their idea, but they are all our indigenous songs from Great Britain. They come from the people who lived very close to the land, and they're songs that were passed down in the oral tradition, so never really written down, but communicated from father to son, grandmother to granddaughter, whichever way, combination, and was sung throughout the day, on the back of the plough, by shepherds, by millers, by sailors, by gypsies and travellers, which I'll be singing and speaking lots of, very important part of the agrarian ecosystem, and a community that I feel I'm very close to. I'm going to sing a song called The Garden of England, Seeds of Love, and this is a very famous English folk song. In many ways, it's the archetypal English folk song that started the folk revival off in the 1890s by Cecil Sharp, who first collected this song and brought it to wider attention, and there began the great Victorian boom in paying attention and acknowledging these ancient songs and this ancient culture that's been passed down for so many centuries, and in many songs' case millennia. But I've heavily rewritten this song, as I occasionally do, but not often, I'm going to sing mostly the traditional songs. But this one I really would love to share because it's a song where I've written it based upon the old song Seeds of Love, but about the songs themselves. So these songs have an incredible story of how they emulate and live in many ways very similar to the idea of an ecosystem, a species, and all the things that affect them, deny their existence, allow them to propagate, how they are spread and grow and are remembered and are populated and expressed. They are so organic in their way, and I think that's something that we've forgotten about, that sense of wildness that there is in folk songs. And so this is a rewriting to take reference to both some of the lines in old folk songs, but also the ideas of processes that happen within the ecosystem, of how they are there as part of it, and those custodians of the songs, how they are so important, the gardeners, as it were, the gatekeepers. So this is Seeds of Love, Garden of England. Thank you. We sow the seeds of love, we show them how to sing, grown with the knowing of something in their blood, where ceremony begins, when the apron string unpinned. My garden was forsook to weigh in on industry, raised behind the altar under oak and ash. I grew to a bonny rowan tree, freely in my own country. But some old oak trees won't twist, for they're brittle beneath the bark. Better that limbs be broken, brought to ground, and service the light to dark, We're just servants unto the dark, for the gatekeeper can stand by. They must be bound to be free, like working the liminal, listening to the land, and fingering at mystery, not Sally, free and easy. Oh grief have I, for the songs they go to decay. The garden of England once bloomed her sound assault, now destined for some bouquet. No roses in this display, for the rose it bore a thorn, a spritz of wilful spark, but taming the temper to never pierce the palm. You'll never touch the heart, no poison tip to the dart, for we sowed the seeds of love. We showed them how to sing, grown with the knowing of wildness in their blood, more than the sum of the everything. The old one never wears thin, sweet as the birds in the spring. Home is when the heart sings, the songs that tell of our own kith and kin. The old wow never wears thin, out of decay new life springs, it springs, as the anima sheds her own skin, while this pebble rolls its big rings. The old wow never wears thin, the old wow never wears thin. The old one never wears thin. Thank you. Garden of England there. And The Old Wow is the name of the album on which that song and Spencer and some of the other songs I'll sing are on. And it's the name that I give for that great sense of majesty, of power, of the entity, of the spirit of nature that is present, sometimes more than other times, but has been something I've spent my life in search of, and is there, no matter what happens, will always be there, strong. So thank you. Lovely to hear your comments. I just hearing some requests, some of which I can sing, some of which I can't. I do not know now the green blade riseth, though I shall look it up. Might be a bit of some others coming up soon. So yeah, thank you. I'd like to sing a song that I'd like to dedicate to my dear friend who I think is watching, Will Boyd Wallace, who's the head of conservation at the Cairngorms National Park, and one of my great inspirations and guides and friends, I'm pleased to say, a man who's taught me an enormous amount about the flora of and the culture of the Cairngorms, the place I love dearly, and we have led a pilgrimage which will be happening in the summer, in June, God willing, in search of the salmon along the great rivers of the Feshie and the River Dee. The Dee being a river that I've grown up on via and taught and this is a song from my teacher. And my teacher was a man called Stanley Robertson. He died about 11 years ago, and he was the last of the Scottish travellers, the great singers and storytellers, and carried down millennia of ancient ballads. And I'm not going to sing one of his big ballads, but I want to sing this one. It's a very small, really only 2 verses. And it's actually, somebody's just said here, Will You Go Lassie Go, which I might sing a little bit of later. This is the sister song, Will You Go Lassie Go, one of the greatest of the British folk songs. Was always considered to be a unique folk song, nothing like it, no other song like it. But standing down the line of the Scottish travellers who lived in Aberdeen and travelled all across the eastern board and deep into the Cairngorms, fished for freshwater pearls and salmon on the river Dee and Don, had this beautiful one in praise of the heather, which Will You Go Lassie Go is, and it is the same song, slightly different, but you'll realise it if you know that other one. And it's really the great devotional song of the Scots travellers who lived for most of their lives out in nature, in tents, in caravans, lived off the land, and were really our last indigenous people to have lived that subsistence way of life with such deep knowledge. And indeed what was so wonderful about the time I spent with the travellers and the gypsies is their enormous, amongst the elders, their enormous knowledge and folk knowledge of medicinal plants and lay of the land on a sort of species level, but also on a more mystical and connected level, something that I'm working hard to reinvigorate. So this is the Fair of Balnafannon, this mythical place somewhere in the Highlands, but it's about a meeting of lovers. I was going to the fair, of Balnafannon, when I met a winsome man. He was as fair as the Annan. I asked him where he lived as we walked that road together by the bonny mountain thyme. He replied, amongst the heather I will build my love a bower by yon clear crystal fountain, and on it I will plant all the flowers of the mountain. I'll walk the mountainside and the dark glen so early, and I'll bring back the spoils to the one I loved so dearly. The Fair of Balnafannon. Thank you so much. Also, Will You Go Lassie Go? And I realise as I'm singing the song, I'm sure if you heard the lyrics, I will build my love a bower and on it I will plant all the flowers of the mountain. It's a song about rewilding, kind of. Upland meadow sowing. It's about letting nature take over. And I think maybe that's the great knowledge within these songs, that they speak and they come from a time, even though maybe the information is subtle, it's an indication of that deep awareness that these old singers had of their land and of the processes and the goodness from the land and how to look after it and how to be looked after it. I feel that very strongly in these songs, and I'm sure you will recognise that too. So I hope you're having a nice evening. I'm going to sing a really light song. This is about a crop, but a very unusual crop. This is a tiny little song that I learnt from the Gypsy singing of a family called the Penfolds. And the Penfolds, Janet Penfold and her daughter would get up at dawn at 4 o'clock in the morning in the summer, and they lived in Battersea in South London, and they'd walk all the way to Mitcham Common. And the Penfolds are a big family of Romany Gypsies, English Romany Gypsies, wonderful singers, and I've spent lots of time learning their songs. And this is one of the songs that they sang when they'd returned back to London, to Chelsea in Covent Garden, with sprigs of lavender. And the lucky lavender that they'd go and pick down in the lavender groves in Mitcham, and they would bring back to sell as lucky charms. And this is a song that you might know from My Fair Lady, because it was a kind of reappropriated for that film, but this is the original, one of the original street cries that was sung for the lavender. And I think it's an extraordinary, it was improvised. This is how I learnt it, but they'd improvise it. So this is a snapshot of one of those wonderful moments of hearing this exquisite old modal gypsy melody. Won't you buy my sweet blooming lavender? There are 16 blue branches, a penny all in full bloom. You buy them once, you buy them twice, it makes your clothes smell sweet and nice. Come, all you young ladies, and make no delay. My lavender's fresh from Mitcham, and we're round once a day. Some their large and some they're small. Please take 'em in and show them all. 'Twas early this morning when the dew was a-falling. I gathered my sweet lavender from the valley all in full bloom. Now's the time to scent your clothes and pocket handkerchiefs, and to keep those moths away. Won't you buy my sweet blooming lavender? There are 16 blue branches, a penny all in full bloom. A song we don't hear anymore, sadly. I remember as a kid going around Covent Garden and seeing the lavender sellers. Maybe there's some lavender growers out there in the audience today. That would make me so happy. If you are, shout. I will come to your lavender farm and I will sing that with your lavender. Another beautiful hymn for nature, and this for me is really the kind of pinnacle of all the great folk songs and nature adoration songs. It's another song that I learnt from the Copper family. I'd love it if you could sing along with this. It's very simple. There's a repeated phrase, and it's called "Birds in the Spring" or "Down the Green Groves I Notice Birds in the Spring," and it's a real dedication to the power of birdsong in the spring. And I'm sure all of you, every one of you, will know that sensation around mid-late March when the birdsong reappears and as the summer migrants come in. And this is a song that really puts one bird particularly above all, and it's the nightingale. And I don't know if any of you know a little bit of my story, but the nightingale is really my kind of totemic bird, one of my 4 totemic birds, but really my power bird that I spend 6 weeks every year singing with, from mid-April to the end of May in Sussex, and also RSPB Hindham Woods in Gloucestershire. And it for me is the greatest song in the whole world, listening to the nightingale, but also the great privilege of singing with them. And this is a song I often sing with the nightingales, and I know that they love this song. I won't say too much about it, but if you want to come and join me come spring in Sussex or Gloucestershire, check out Singing with Nightingales. Lovely friend Rebecca, who's part of the team and volunteering for the conference, is going to paste some links into the chat. So please do come and check out Singing with Nightingales and come and join me and 30 people a night to come into the dark and sing this song with the nightingales. This is Birds in the Spring. As I walked out one morning in May to view the green meadows and the valley so gay, it is there I did hear those charming birds sing. Did you ever hear so sweet? Did you ever hear so sweet? Did you ever hear so sweet as the birds in the spring? As I sat myself down to view all around, and the song of the nightingale echoed all around. His voice was so charming, his notes were so clear. No music nor songster, no music nor songster, no music nor songster can with him compare. So all of you hear them small birds to hear, I'll have you pay attention. Now listen, draw near, that when you've grown old, you'll have this to say, that you never heard so sweet, that you never heard so sweet, that we never heard so sweet as the birds in the spring. I hope you were singing along with that. There's a possibility I might be singing it at the very end of this conference, the very closing. So please, if you are there for that, after Naomi Klein, come and join in with Birds in the Spring. As I said, from the Copper family, and there's something about this. About this song, it's beautiful, but it has a sting at the end of its tail, and that kind of connects with the next song. It says this idea that we've never heard so sweet, we'll never hear so sweet, and you'll never hear so sweet as the birds in the spring. And there's this idea of for want of a less technical term, this idea of the shifting bass line, that when that song was being sung by the Copper family 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, the song of the birds in the spring, I will never get to know. And that idea of the loss, the thinning out. I hope some of you have heard nightingales. If you have, please maybe type into the chat where you've heard your nightingale. I go to do my nightingale singing in Barkham, just outside Lewes. Secret, amazing site, a real eco hotspot there. And obviously some of the RSPB nature reserves are wonderful. But they are disappearing fast at a rate of about 89% a year, and certainly some of the sites I go to hear nightingales, every year I'm there are less and less of the birds. And we are living in an absolute crisis, and they are expected to be extinct within the next 40 years, nightingales from this country. And the idea for me of losing that song breaks my heart. It almost makes me want to cry right now. It's not the bird that's faring the worst though, and this next song tells that story in extraordinary kind of like premonitionary detail, and it is the turtle dove. It's the bird that we expect to next go extinct from Britain and declining at a rate of 97% a year. And any of you who've ever heard that sung, that churring, the purring, turring of the turtle dove, it's extraordinary. I lead a pilgrimage every year from the home of this song to the home of where the last turtle doves in Sussex are living, which I'm sure many of you know is Netley Wilding Estate. And the amazing work they're doing, that Izzy and Charlie are doing, has meant that there's a growing population there, quite contrary to the rest of the country. And that pilgrimage is open to anyone. If you want to come and join, please do it. We walk the 24 miles over the 4 days singing this song, and we start at the site of where Vaughan Williams, the wonderful composer, collected this song on Edison phonograph on wax cylinder from the publican of the Plough Inn. And in that very pub, we learn the song on the Thursday night, and then we sing this song and we rewild this song back down to all the way, the 24 miles. We're singing it as we go and experiencing the glorious Sussex countryside, back to the Nep estate, where at dawn we sing this song to the turtle doves themselves, taking it back to the very species. But the song speaks about the decline, even though this song goes back maybe 300-400 years. We can't carbon date it, but it speaks about that impending tragedy of this loss, of this parting of us and the nightingale. It speaks about global warming, of the rocks melting to the sun, and the billows burning, the hills burning up. And these are things that were biblical and apocryphal then, but are present and reality now. So this is the Turtle Dove. Thank you very much for listening. Oh, can't you see my little turtle dove sitting under the mulberry tree? See how that she does mourn for her true love, as I shall mourn for thee, my love, as I shall mourn for thee. Oh, fare thee well, my little turtle dove, and fare thee well for a while. For though you go, you'll surely return. If you go 10,000 miles, my love, if you go 10,000 miles, 10,000 miles is very far away for you to return to me. You'll leave me here to lament and wail a day. My tears you will not see, my love. My tears you will not see, for the hills will roll, my little turtle dove, and the roaring billows burn. If I prove false to the songbirds that I love, or I a traitor turn, my love, or I a traitor turn, for the crow that's black, my little turtle dove, shall change her colour white. If I prove false to the songbirds that I love, then the noonday shall sound as night, my love. The noonday shall sound as night, for the stars will fall, my little turtle dove, and the rocks melt with the sun. If I prove false to the mother that I love, till all these things be done, my love, till all these things be done. Turtle dove, thank you. Yeah. just going to take a moment there. Thank you. God, I can't wait for the spring. I don't know how you're all feeling, but being here in London where I live, I feel very very missing of the wild places. Yeah, I'd like to dedicate that song to Charlie and Izzy and Nep for the work they're doing, and all the work that you listeners are doing, whatever way, whether you have land, whether you give to land your time, your money, and your appreciation, and most importantly your love. That's what these songs are about. They're about love. Ultimately, that's all we can do, is express in whatever way we know best our love for the land and our friends and beings that grow on it. I'm not paying much attention to the chat, and I'm really sorry, and it's lovely to see these your comments here. I do have some songs from the Fens. I'm not going to sing them now. There is one on my current album called Jasper Sea, which is a Norfolk Fen song, a great ballad. It's not the song for now. It's even more tragic than that one. But a wassail. I've been asked for a wassail, and that I can do. And this is not an apple wassail, as I think you might be asking for. Wassail, for those who don't know, is one of the ancient pre-Christian carolling traditions that we have in Great Britain. It comes from the old Saxon word vashael, give health, good health, and it's a cheersing song, but it's very much particular a blessing song. It's a devotional song. The apple wassails were sung to give health to the apple trees, to produce a crop that would allow us to make cider, for which we knew we could drink safely, unlike the water. This is a wassail song that's a midwinter song. It's a song I learnt from a woman who sadly passed away on the lunar eclipse of July in this last year, 2020, a couple of days before my 40th birthday, and my dear friend, 93-year-old Frida Black, the last of the English Gypsy singers, a woman who I'd spent many years in the company of, learning her songs, recording, documenting her extraordinary wealth of ancient songs. And she had a lot of these pre-Christian songs and a lot of knowledge about. She had picked much lavender, many tales of the trees and of some of the creatures that lived on a land that none of us see anymore. If you want to hear some of her stories and songs, please go on to songcollectors.org and look for Frida Black under the Tradition Bearers, and there you'll see many of the old gypsies and travellers that I have documented in my time as a song collector, recording the last of the elders, last of our ancient people in the British Isles and Ireland who have still been singing these ancient songs. And sadly, Frida took to the grave this song. She's the last in the oral tradition, though maybe I'm now in it, and you will be too if you learn this song, of The Moon Shines Bright, which is it's a winter blessing song about health to one's journey in life, about that sense of finding purpose that I know most of you who are here have an idea of purpose, of what their purpose is, and I'm sure it is, like mine, to draw attention to the beauties that we have on our doorstep, beyond our doorstep, and invoke the idea of protection and awareness and a deeper counsel with the land. So this is The Moon Shines Bright, and it has a little bit of maybe other songs that you might know. So this I dedicate to my friend who's no longer with us, Frida Black, the last of the English gypsies. The moon shines bright, and the stars give a light. In a little while it will be day. The voice of love, it calls upon us all and bids us awake and pray. Arise, arise, away thee rise, For life she is calling thee, for it might be the mothering of your sweet soul, if you open your eyes and see that the life of a man, it comes with little plan, it flourishes like a flower, as tender in the heart into which you're born, so cherish your every hour. For our time is not long, time's an old folk song, no longer can we stay. Those who remember say, blessed are you all who make it through this brawl, long life and another good year. Blessed are you all who make it through this brawl, long life and another good year. For the moon shines bright, and the stars give a light. Life, she is calling thee. Arise, arise, away thee, arise, and evermore watchful be. The moon shines bright. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's really lovely to share this song, all these songs with you. They're your songs, they're my songs, they're our songs. These songs belong to us, they're our common heritage. And so lovely to read your messages. I'm just scrolling through now, and for Neil, who asked for Yorkshire Dale song, the Spencer the Rover, the first song I sang, is about the Dales. It's from Yorkshire through Rotherham. So yeah, and great to see all these places. Fingringhoe Wick. There is no better place to hear nightingales. It's like the Amazon rainforest in spring there. It's just heaving with nightingales and incredible, dripping with song. I should probably say, actually, because I'd be told off if I didn't, but on March 25th, I have this book coming out on Penguin, Random House, a book that I've worked very hard to put together, called The Nightingale, Notes on a Songbird, and it's all about the nightingale, from the ornithological, the natural history, to the cultural importance, both in Britain and all the way across the Northern Hemisphere to Western Mongolia, where they live, and how they exist in culture and ancient history. And it's really the kind of miscellany and the book of all the different worlds the nightingale lives upon. I'm very proud to have this coming out. It didn't come out last year as it was planned. So please do go on to the Penguin book site, or go to your independent bookshop, please, if you can, or one of the independent online bookshops, and purchase a copy. And come to the Nightingales. I can see many of you are saying you have been to the Sing with Nightingales. I'd love to meet you all in person, sing with you, and sit around the fire, share songs and food and stories, and embrace the nature's greatest song together. And yeah, thank you, Rebecca. Thank you to all of the conference, all those who are working, to Olivia and Fran and Vince, who's doing an incredible job on the technical side, and all the volunteers and everyone. It's been an absolute inspiration to be here. My well filleth up with inspiration, and one of the great blessings of losing all my gigs last year and probably using all my musical gigs, all my festival slots next year, is that I get to spend an enormous amount of time in nature. And I will be doing that. I'll be leading pilgrimages throughout March on chalk streams and with the turtle doves and the salmon, and more no doubt throughout the summer. So please do check out my website, samleysong.co.uk. I think Rebecca will be posting that up there to find out more about all those things that I get to do by bringing music and song and getting people to sing outdoors. It's the great privilege of the work that, the enthusiasm of you guys. Anyway, I go on too much and I do the advert for too long, I apologise, but these things need to be shared, and whatever keeps me outdoors is good by me. So I hope you're having a great festival. Let me know, put in the chat the best talk that you've heard so far or expecting, so I got some top tips, and everyone else, I'd love to hear that, because I'm going to use our chat on this event, which stays up there, as my little resource. Or tweet me at samleysong, or Instagram, whatever you use best. I've got time for a couple more songs, so I wonder, I'd like to sing this song for the trees, because that's been so important, big part of this silver culture, and the importance of trees in the ecosystem. And it's been wonderful hearing about the impact on soil and all that, the vitality of trees within mixed farming systems. And there are so many tree songs that I'd love to sing, and I don't have time, but I want to sing this one because we live in an age of utter devastation for our trees, and this is not a new thing in the British Isles. This song, Bonnie Portmore, is a 17th century Northern Irish song that speaks about the cutting down of an ancient oak, an old stag oak called the ornament tree. The tree was called the ornament tree, and Bonnie Portmore was this ancient oak forest. This ancient, and if it was ancient in the 1700s, then God knows how old some of these trees go back, pre-Christian times, I imagine. And Bonnie Portmore was this much hallowed and adored tree, and it was cut down by the English, as was much of the forest. And it was so loved by the people, this folk song came out, was essentially composed in adoration and lament for the loss of this great barrel. I imagine they're one of these barrel oaks, maybe even a hollow one that you and the kids could squeeze in, as I have loved doing. So here is Bonnie Portmore. Oh, Bonnie Portmore, I am sorry for to see the woeful destruction of your ornament tree. You stood on the shores for many's the long day, till the long boats of Antrim came to float you away. Oh, Bonnie Portmore, you shine where you stand, and the more I think on you, the more I think long. For if I had you now, as I had you before, oh, the lords of old England could not purchase Portmore. All the birds in the forest, they bitterly weep, saying, where shall we shelter? Oh, where shall we sleep? For the oak and the ash, they have all been cut down, and the walls of Bonnie Portmore are all fell to the ground. Oh, bonny Portmore, I'm sorry for to see the woeful destruction of your ornamentary. Bonnie Portmore. And I'd like to dedicate that song to all the trees that have been lost to HS2 and other campaigns like it, and to all the defenders of those trees and woods that have been out there and suffering the hardship of winter to try and bring a halt. Please do sign up to Chris Packham's petition. It's now got over 100,000 people to try and get it spoken about in Parliament to bring an end to HS2. And as I'm sure you're all doing, do what you can to bring about justice, ecological justice and climate justice. It's so important the voices are raised. So thank you all so much for being here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Even though I'm on my own in my home, I feel close to you. I feel I'm going to walk out into the corridors with you all of the conference, and I can't wait till next year to be there in person as a listener and just yeah, connecting with you all. It's wonderful to see your messages. Thank you for them so much. I'm gonna end as I sang on the first at the beginning of the conference. I opened up with the Farmer's Toast, the Godspeed the Plough. I'm gonna send the lyrics here to you so that you can sing the chorus with me, or Rebecca might do it. I wonder if I could do it in the thing. And please do give a song sing along with this, please. It's to all you working so hard to do the good work. Thank you all very much. Here's Godspeed the Plough. And the chorus is, I'm going to start with the chorus. We have lawns, we have bowers, we have fields, we have flowers, and the lark is my daily alarmer. So jolly be now, his Godspeed the plough, long life and success to the farmer. Come all jolly fellows who delight in being mellow, oh, attend unto me, I invite you. Let's meet now, it's quiet. Oh, come let us try it, for working will drive us all crazy. We have fields, we have flowers, we have lawns, we have bowers, and the lark is my daily alarmer. So jolly be now, his Godspeed the plough, long life and success to the farmer. Were it not for my seeding, they'd have but for feeding. I'm sure they'd all starve without me. But I am content when I paid my rent, and I'm happy when friends are about me. Here we're kings and we're queens, we can laugh, drink and sing, and let no one approach as a stranger. We welcome our detractors, those with armies of tractors, and we'll treat them to hay in a manger. We have lawns, we have bowers, we have fields, we have flowers, and the lark is my daily alarmer. So jolly be now, here's Godspeed the plough, long life and success to the farmer. Let the wealthy and great roll in splendour and state, I envy them not, I declare it. For I eat my own ham, my own chickens and lamb, and I shear my own fleece and I wear it. All together. We have lawns, we have bowers, we have fields, we have flowers, and the lark is my daily alarmer. So jolly be now, here's Godspeed the plough, long life and success to you, farmer. Yay! Thank you very much, Oxford Real Farming Conference. It's been an absolute joy, and thank you so much for being here. I wish you all great success onwards with whatever you're doing. Have a wonderful conference. Please stay in touch with me. I look forward to connecting with you on the conference, on the chat, on the social media, whichever way. And yeah, keep up the good work. Much love. Thank you.